Guys, today we are covering 3 competition, Cup of China, Finland, and then the NHK Trophy. But before we can get into any of that, we need to talk about the biggest news probably that has happened since my last video, which is that the Russians and the Belarusians have been allowed back into the Olympics officially. The IOC, the International Olympic Committee, has made their point clear. They have stated that they will be allowed back into the Olympics under a neutral flag, which the Russians should be very much used to because they have been doing that since 2014 because of other reasons, not just the war. And so let's just read this statement pretty directly so that we can see where they stand and how we feel about it. So, the International Olympic Committee has outlined a multi-step plan for Russian and Belarusian athletes to participate at the upcoming 2024 Summer Games in Paris and the 2026 Winter Games, which are the ones that we care about. No athlete should be prevented from competing just because of their passport, the IOC Executive Board declared. The IOC said it would continue its sanctions against Russian and Belarusian state and government officials and prohibit sporting events organized by both the countries' federations, meaning that Russia will have to continue their fake Grand Prix circuit until 2026 and beyond, but they now have a chance at the Olympics, which I don't even know now how it counts for them to qualify, but Russia has already been through this, so maybe they know better than I do. The organization said its board met and unanimously reaffirmed and called for a reinforcement of the sanctions already in place. The IOC said that it would recommit and strengthen the organization's solidarity with the Ukrainian athletes and the Ukrainian Olympic community, and would support Ukraine's effort to field a strong team at the Paris and Milan Games. Just imagine now that the Russian Olympic Committee will be going against Ukrainian athletes without their flag, but still Russian athletes. Like, that is going to be a freaking mess, and I can't even imagine the emotional and mental turmoil that the Ukrainian athletes will have seeing the Russians there in front of them. Regardless, in order for the Russians and Belarusian athletes to compete, they would need to represent as neutral athletes and in no way represent their state or any other organization or their country, meaning they won't show the flag, but their costumes, outfits will still be red, white, and blue. They will still be doing the hashtag We Will Rock You, which was what they did last time when they were just the Russian Olympic Committee. It's nothing to me in terms of a punishment. No flag, no anthem, colors, or any other identifications whatsoever of these countries being displayed in any sports events or meetings, including the entire venue. But then again, their official uniform, which I will put here, was gray with white and red and blue. So, colors were still there. A joint statement from the athletes' rights group, Global Athlete and Ukrainian Athletes, said that the IOC plan to allow Russian and Belarusian athletes to participate at the upcoming event only strengthens Russian propaganda machine, which I agree with. But alas, the decision has been made. The skaters now know they got 2 years to qualify for the Olympics, and we will for sure see a Terry Tudobrice back at the Winter Games. That I know for a fact. Now I wonder how it's going to be because there really is no heir. There really is no person who is looked upon as the favorite. We all are very well aware of the Olympic favorite curse. But right now, I can't point to you who the favorite will be. Will they appear? Are they someone we already know? I don't know. Besides Adelia and Sofia Katieva, who I think are already aging out, sadly, there really is no one that I can point to in terms of the Team Tudberidze machine for the Angels of Plushenko. Neither. I don't know. Now that they have finally a goal of an international competition with the Olympics, I can see them just going full steam ahead, full throttle, and shenanigans will begin to ensue. How do I feel about this? I feel like I saw this coming from a mile away. The IOC always bends to Russia's will. We saw that with the Kamila Valieva situation, which is still not over, and we've seen it time and time again with these doping allegations. Now with a legitimate war, other sporting federations like tennis have already allowed Russian athletes to participate under neutral flags. I honestly thought that was going to come first, but this announcement of them being allowed at the Olympics might help propel the Russians being allowed at international events once again under the quote-unquote neutral flag. So who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just interested to see who will rise to take the place that Kamila Valieva had before her, Evgenia Medvedeva, then Alina, all the greats. Who is going to take that place? Who will Terry choose to be the next chosen one per se. Will Plushenko have a chance? Will anyone besides the teams everybody's at camp have a chance? Like I said, the shenanigans will ensue, and by that I mean the Hunger Games have begun in Russia. And I say that through nervous laughter. Anyways, besides that news, let's talk about the 3 competitions that we're going to cover today. We're going to start with Cup of China. Please note that I will only talk about the people who made it to the podium for the men's and the ladies event. If I talked about everybody and did honorable mentions in other disciplines, we would be here for 5 hours. So please bear with me. And here we go. In first place at Cup of China for the ladies, we had Hana Yoshida from Japan. And as we know, we can always expect great skaters with amazing presentation from Japan. And Hana did her thing. Costume-wise, I don't like the short program dress. Bright green leopard print should never be an option. I'm surprised a Japanese skater did such a thing. That being said, I liked the program itself. It gave me an insight into her personality. It gave me some charm. She brought you in with the expressiveness of her face, and I just wish that she had landed that triple axel. Now in the free, she still doesn't land that triple axel cleanly, but she does not fall, which is an improvement. Her jumps look smooth, and as soon as she dominates that triple axel, I think that Hana Yoshida is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I don't remember if I'm fully familiar with her. I recognize her free, so I was pleasantly surprised with her. And my favorite thing about her free is definitely like the little hand dance in the middle of the choreo. She has this little moment where she just kind of like dances and stomps a little bit, and every single time I find myself dancing along with her. And the red glove eats. Can we just agree that that red glove and black glove combination is just amazing and insightful and genius? I really have grown to like this program, especially the gloves. For some reason they just tickle something in my brain, and I don't know why, but I feel like I said I didn't like it the last time I saw it, but this time around I really like this outfit. Essentially with Hana Yoshida, there was nothing really outstanding for me about her performance, but her getting very close to a triple axel and landing it consistently is definitely, for me, the most exciting part about Hana Yoshida's journey throughout the Grand Prix season. In second place, we had a familiar name and face, Rinka Watanabe, another Japanese lady who is also not best known for her consistency throughout the season. But I was excited to see her perform, and she ended up placing high. She ended up in second place, which is amazing for Rinka Watanabe. And as the announcer said, it was the music from Avatar. I was like, okay, let's see what this is. And then I heard the screeching noise. It was the voice of none other than The Weeknd. And I completely checked out, because ever since that man did The Idol, I can't listen to him without cringing and thinking about that show. However, the program itself was very good. My favorite part by far is the second half of the program, because it has an amazing step sequence. Like for me, this program was choreo first and jump second. And because I like the second half, it might also have to do with the fact that that's when The Weeknd's voice kind of fizzles out, and that's why I like that second half, but I really think it's mostly because of the choreo. At the end of the program, you could see that Rinka looked extremely relieved / satisfied with her performance. And then in the free, the first thing that I noticed was her dress. Like, what is going on with her dress? At first I thought it was a zebra dress, and then it reminded me of like those adult coloring books that have all those shapes and patterns in black and white. But either way, not great references for a skating program. The jumps and the choreo were good, I will admit, but having random pieces of fabric in the back that are black and fuchsia just made me be distracted, and it looks like the dress is unfinished, so I can't really focus. But the jumps and choreo were good from what I did see. And her hitting every single note did elevate the program, even though I hated every single note. The music felt like it was background music for an action movie trailer. Nothing made sense this entire program. Like, what was it about? Everything felt disjointed, including her costume. The only good thing I can really say is that besides her doing well, she committed to the program. She hit every music change, and she was giving face. Now, what the hell was the program about? I can't tell you, but she performed it great, landing her in second place, and that is what you call committing to the bit. Then in third place, we have the forever fan favorite Luna Hendricks from Belgium, who is no longer the sole Belgian in the international scene, with the appearance of the young Nina Pizzarrone. Her short was fun, as always, and it was crazy the amount of arms that Luna is doing in that short program. Like, I know that she's voguing in the free, but the armography was off the freaking charts. Way more more than I remember. And she also started off on the wrong foot with her jumps because she popped her double axel at the beginning of the program. But as always, Miss Luna Hendricks is serving, always serving, giving us face, giving us star power every moment of every freaking second. And the part where she gives the judges a little private dance gives me and the crowd life, so much fucking life every time. In the free, she also struggled with the opening jumps and she had wobbly landings. So not great on the technical side, but always delivering in the skating skills side and the giving face side. Ironically, I feel like her free broke her soul, or at the very least, her jumps, because she did not deliver on the technical side. So having Beyonce be like, you won't break my soul, but I'm like, she might break her ankle. On the bright side, if it wasn't because of the struggle bus in the opening jumps, I feel like Luna Hendricks might have had a strong chance for being in second place. And I think that this is mostly a stamina issue that can be resolved later on this season if she trains correctly for her jumps and practice her program in full. So to me, there was no like alarm bells going. It was mostly just she needs more training. And it's early on in the season, so I wasn't too worried. And I honestly think that she can deliver us the Renaissance moment and do Beyonce proud, do Beyonce justice if she just has a clean program once she's a little bit more fit, once her training has affected her a little bit more. At this point, the women's competition is just so tight that nobody can afford to have any mistakes because they're just all on the same level. And if you don't skate clean that day, whoever did is going to be above you. That's just plain and simple. Like your competitor will surpass you if they have a good day and you have a bad day. That's just how black and white it is for the ladies competition. So the key for success for all the ladies in all these competitions this season is consistency and clean skating, especially because everybody's just so close in skill. So that is a message for all, not just for Luna Hendricks. Then for the men in Cup of China, we had in first place Mr. Adam Xiaoheng-fa, who continues his winning streak. His short also continues to be my favorite of the entire season, my favorite short program at least for the entire season. He does a great job delivering every emotion and jump on the ice. Also, his charisma really jumps out as well. He did have a fall, but even with his fall, his skating skills and his technical content are just so far ahead of everyone else that I knew that if he had a clean skate in the free, he could still take the goal if Shoma Uno messed up, which is his only true competition here. And in his free, he did not fall, but he was also holding on to some of those jumps for dear life. Like he was this close to falling in some of them. Like every landing was an inch away from disaster. But only a few jumps into the program did he finally look stable. But he managed to do it. And seeing that made me nervous because I thought, are we going to see him crumble again under the pressure? Because that was his thing the last few seasons. Also, the fact that the Cup of China was very, very close in the timeline, like in the time frame from the Grand Prix de France, made me extra nervous because going from one competition to another in such a short amount of time is already such a pressure cooker, but coming in with a win under your belt is even more pressure for Adam Xiaoheng-fa, who already struggled with pressure. But I was happy to see that Adam handled this newfound pressure of winning like a pro. And maybe having these competitions back to back actually worked in his favor because it showed him that he can actually do it, that he can push through, that one mistake is not gonna bring him down because he already knows that he can do it. And I feel like it allowed him to ride that high from the first win and turn it into lemonade with a good result in this competition, which that is exactly what happened as Adam Xiaoheng-fa walked away with first place. In second place, we have the man to beat from last season, Mr. Shoma Uno, whose first performance of the season was here at the Cup of China. And Shoma, I think, had even more pressure than Adam Xiaoheng-fa at this competition because not only was it his first competition of the season to showcase this program, but he also comes from a long streak of winning. He is essentially undefeated until he showed up here, which of course his streak ended because Adam Xiaoheng-fa took first place. But to me, Shoma Uno still had a great outing here considering all the factors that he was fighting up against and the immense pressure. Shoma's short was odd but fascinating. Like, I loved it. It was like weird in an artistic way. And I think the only reason that it works is because of the emotion and the movement that Shoma is able to give it. And I loved his costume. I love the short program costume. And it paired with the weird, like, avant-garde program just made it even more fancy. I feel like Shoma Uno is truly the only man who's delivering with his costumes. He's the only one that really goes all out there. I miss Yuzuru for that. He always would go all out, and Shoma Uno maintains that tradition. Also, I believe that Shoma Uno continues to have the best skating skills and the softest landings I've ever seen. Like, nobody can compare to him in that regard. His knees are quiet. His landings are pillow soft. Sadly, because Shoma Uno got second place, you can imagine that since his short went well, it was in his free that he messed up. And that is exactly what happened. For his first 2 jumps, not only did he have a fall first, but then he had a pop. And these mistakes seemed to seal his fate by not being the immediate shoo-in for first place anymore. It opened the door for Adam Xiaohengfa to skate through. But don't get me wrong, to me, Shoma Uno is still very much the man to beat. He just has tighter competition this season due to Adam and Ilya Malinin getting their shit together and having such high technical content that they can compete with Shoma Uno whenever he has an off day. But do not get it twisted, because Shoma Uno continues to be the perfect balance of art and skill, technical skill, which is what every skater desires to be. Therefore, he is, for me, the best active male skater out there right now. And he was still even happy at the end of his program. And if he's happy with his first outing, then so am I. Then in third place, we had a guy named Mikhail Shaidorov from Kazakhstan, who is having his first season as a senior, I believe. And he was a surprise for me, as I am not familiar with him and I did not expect to see a complete unknown on the podium. But he had a great short with impressive jumps. Although his costume did remind me of that one guy from Tumblr, the one seller. And then in his free, he also had surprisingly a clean performance with stable jumps, and the stability paid off because he ended up in third place. However, it being his first season, all that he needs now is still to build up that notoriety, that trust with the judges, and that familiarity with the crowd. Only then will he truly be a competitor for all the greats out there. Right now, all he can do is just kind of build his repertoire by being stable and clean. Let's continue with the next competition with the men. In first place, we have Kao Miura from Japan. And let's be honest, I didn't like his short. It was giving generic heavy and sad music program. But I will say that he has crazy speed. Like, I've never seen a male skater jump that fast. Like, he's just skating through and jumping in between. He looks like a little Tasmanian devil when he's up in the air. And that is very impressive, I have to say. Especially given that his jumps are actually very good at this competition. However, his costume was also not giving. So, bad marks on the music for me and bad marks on the costume for me. It just kind of looked like a cool training shirt. Am I wrong? I am not wrong. Also, I feel like Kao has too much skill to be giving such basic music for his program. Like, he needs a better program, not just in the music sense, but also in the choreography sense. I feel like he is too talented for what he's being given, what he's being delivered on a platter. And then in the free, he had even worse music that was even heavier and more angsty. Like, for the first 5 seconds, I genuinely thought that it was a soundtrack from Jaws. I heard dun-dun, dun-dun, and I was like, no, this can't be. And then it became something bad. It wasn't the Jaws soundtrack. It was just bad music. Like, whoever is picking his music, why are you praying for his downfall? Like, genuinely, why are you praying for his downfall? They're either trying to sabotage Kao or they're going through a hard time and it's bleeding into their musical selection because it doesn't make sense. Such sad, heavy music for no damn reason. Like, I'm not even kidding. The music for his free sounds like what a cult would play during a human sacrifice. Like, what are we doing here? Genuinely, I need an explanation. But his actual program was okay. His skills and his technical ability, once again, were his saving grace in the free. And I just hope the next season Kao gets better music that showcases his personality, rather than us having to sit through a program and watch him battle some invisible demons that I don't think he's even connecting to in this music. All that to say that I did not connect to either one of his programs, mainly because of the music choice. And also the choreography. It just wasn't delivering. Like, even when the free music turns into a piano ballad, I just didn't find it compelling enough. And yet, Miura's skills managed to shine through, and the judges awarded him with a first place. In second place, we have another Japanese man, Shun Sato, who I have to confess I liked way better than Miura. But we all know that I have a weakness for a Latin flair program, which is what Shun Sato's short is. Like, even his Latin-inspired costume was given way more than Miura in my opinion. He had an amazing short. And then his free, I liked even better. His free had also great jumps with amazing skating skills, and he delivered them cleanly, stable, amazingly. He even got a partial standing ovation, so I know I wasn't alone in my admiration. So I was confused. Like, why was he in second place? So yeah. If I was the judges, I would have placed Shun Sato in first, but Miura took the medal, and Shun Sato ended up with silver, but only by a difference of 1.22 points, which is less than what Zhenya lost to Alina at the Olympics. So there's that. Then in third place, we had the Frenchman, Kevin Amos, who is also a forever fan favorite. He's like our favorite underdog, which we are always cheering on and wishing a win for. And let me say that when he fumbled his first jump in the short, I tensed up for the rest of the program because I have seen this man fall in ridiculous, shocking ways because he's so freaking flexible. He just falls in the most dangerous ways. And for the rest of the short, I was just nervous. And I could tell he was too because he was fighting for his life in some of those landings, barely holding on to them. But he did not fall once. And his choreography was beautiful as always, which is always Kevin Amos's saving grace. Then in the free, he did My Mortal Enemy, Bolero. However, Kevin Amos, as I said before, has been the only person who has made me like a Bolero program. Like, his choreography paired with his movement is just so inventive and unique that it matches the song. Like, I don't know what to say. He made me like Bolero, even though I hate Bolero. But even his costume for this program is a 10 out of 10 for me. So jumps were still fighting for his life, but he was holding on, and he held on successfully because in the end he was triumphant with not a single fall, only having one bad landing, but ended it on a high note. Me and his coach, who we have established are spiritually connected due to the intensity that we feel for Kevin, were very relieved to see this outcome. And these fumbles in the short landed him in third place. But to me, the way that Kevin picked himself up for the free is a win in and of itself, knowing Kevin Amos's trajectory. The fact that he did not let one mistake derail his entire competition is a win. And I hope that from here, it's just up. I hope that now he can see that he has the mental strength and the physical strength to just keep it clean, keep it stable, keep it safe. And hopefully that's what we do for the next competition. Then for the ladies in Finland, in first place we have the it girl, Kaori Sakamoto, don't know what just happened to me. Number one, I love her dress. I don't remember if I said this, I don't know if this is a new dress, but I love this dress on her. She looks great. Her short program is giving Disney princess, it's giving ingenue, it's giving soft, which is not what I prefer for Kaori, but I will take it because her jumps are smooth, which matches the energy of the program, and she looks beautiful. So what else can I ask for? Because the reality is that the packaging for the short program is a 10 out of 10. However, in terms of my liking it, the short is a 7 out of 10. It's passing the class, but it's nothing crazy. Then the free, which is, as we all remember, the generic ass music that is supposed to be like dark showgirl program. I still don't vibe with it, but I can acknowledge that she had a great performance. She had steady jumps, she showcased her amazing skating skills, she choreoed the hell out of it, and I will say that Kaori is still that girl because not only did she fill up this venue with fans and stands, the crowd also loved. They cheered so loud and they were eating it up. Even though it was basic as shit, the freak program was performed amazingly, and I can acknowledge that. And if I was there in that crowd, I would have also been losing my mind and cheering for her just as loud, because even though the programs are not my favorite, I can still recognize that Kaori is that girl, and her delivery of these programs was just superb. And the judges agreed with me in the situation because Kaori walked away with gold. In second place, we had Rion Sumiyoshi, the same girl that altered my brain chemistry by landing a quadruple jump, a quad, at the last competition in the Grand Prix de France. She was also here mere days after the Grand Prix de France, and that made me very nervous to see how she would handle not just having to deliver a quad again, but having such a fast turnaround to do so. Which at this competition, I also realized that she is 20 years old, which adds so much more significance to that quad, as the Atari girls also have the Atari expiration date, which is where at 17 and 18 they stop being able to land such complex jumps like quads and other Ultra C elements. So Rion Sumiyoshi continues to blow my mind by having landed not just a quad as a Japanese woman, but also a woman in her 20s. That is truly insane and so unexpected, and not in my bingo card for 2023. Like, definitely not in my bingo card for 2023. It's baffling. The girl deserves all the flowers. That being said, I don't think I'm a fan of her short program, but it does do a good job of showcasing personality and charisma. I believe I said that the last time as well. And then her free, it was the moment of truth. Was she going to land a quad again? Which is so wild that I have to say again. And was she even going to attempt it? And the answer is she did. But she landed it not only under rotated, but also double footed. It is still impressive, but it doesn't bode well for her ability to consistently land this quad at competition. And to make matters worse, after double footing the landing of the quad, it occurred again with her next jump where she double footed again. And then it happened again in her third jump where she even tripped and fell afterwards because her feet got stuck into each other. It seems to me that the energy that she got from landing the quad in the Grand Prix de France, where she just got this boost of energy, she got, you know, the Mario superstar, which is going tin 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 through her body. Well, it seems that missing the quad has the same effect, but in a negative manner, because for the rest of the program, she was just losing it. Missing that quad just shook her up and made her very nervous to the point where it messed up the rest of her jumps. But she manages to somewhat save the rest of the program. However, her mistakes had already been too many, which is why I think she should be proud of getting a silver medal still, because this was a bad outing, undisputably, and she still walked away with a very high placement. Like, silver is very high, it's right behind first, and she had a disaster of a free. My only wish for Rion in the rest of the season is that she lands this quad at a competition again, just so she can prove it to herself that she can, because I feel like once she gets that confidence, that validation, the fact that she can do it again, it will be more consistent and it will be something that she will be less scared of attempting. Then in third place we have the second love of my life, Amber Glenn, who I was scared to see in third place because I just watched a shit show of a silver performance, so I was hesitant to see her short program, just waiting for the mistakes and the disaster to happen, because how is she in third when I just saw the silver medalist do that bad? We'll say, watching someone just waiting for them to mess up and waiting for disaster, not the best way to watch a skater. But lucky for me, I wasn't even able to find a video of her short program, so I only got to watch her free, where I once again was still on the edge of my seat waiting for anything to go wrong, but hoping that it wouldn't. And she began the program looking beautiful, but she did pop the triple axel, setting up the rest of the program to have to be perfect in order to podium, which she did. The rest of the program went literally perfectly fine. She did amazing. In giving that, she still ended up in third place. I can only imagine how bad the short program went. It must have been pretty bad, because Rion really had to fight for her life in that free program and did not make it, almost. And she still was above Amber? Like, what happened in the short program? So the only explanation for me is that the short program went worse than I thought. And so Amber Glenn walked away with third, even though she had a pretty good free. She only popped the triple axel, which is understandable. And I don't know if I'm annoyed or relieved that I'm not able to see her short program. Moving on, let's continue with the ladies for our last competition that I will talk in this video, NHK Trophy. And the ladies podium at NHK is wild, because I did not expect any of these names on the podium for this competition, especially a competition like NHK Trophy, which is usually a stacked cast. Not that these girls are incapable of being on the podium when there is a stacked cast, but they're just not recurring names that you see on there, especially because most of them are new to even being in the senior circuit. So let's begin with our medalists for the ladies at NHK. In first place we have from the United States, never expect to say that, Ava Ziegler. No relation to Maddie Ziegler. This is a girl who would pop in here and there in our conversations because she would have notable performances every so often, but she was never consistent enough to be a legitimate competition on the scene. So imagine my face when I see that she's not only on the podium, but she walked away with gold at NHK Trophy. Like, her short was good. I think she expresses herself very well on the ice, and she does a good job interpreting the music, which is very coquettish. Like, the packaging is right. Her jumps were also good, and the way she hit every single note elevated the performance for me. I came in not knowing what to expect, and I ended up pleasantly surprised. Then her free was also good and clean, of all things. Like, I don't know how I feel about the program itself personally, the music choice, the dress. Don't know how I feel about it. It might take a few more competitions for me to figure it out, but she had a great outing at this competition, having skated fully clean in both the short and the free, having smooth transitions and a good speed. At the end of the program, Ava cried tears of joy as she almost couldn't believe it herself. And honestly, seeing the mess of the last competition, this performance was a breath of fresh air for me. And I also loved seeing true depth from USA skaters. I genuinely only wish more good things to happen, more good competitions to happen for Ava. And I can't wait to see her in a competition with Isabeau, because this season is truly up for grabs for anyone that has a clean skate. Like, I'm not even kidding. The ladies, for the most part, have rare consistency, and anyone who skates clean that day could be on the podium. Like, it's that close, meaning that anyone truly has a chance if you catch your competitors on an off day and you do well. So Ava, I hope to see a repeat of this and that you have more clean competitions in the future. Enjoy this gold, because wow. In second place, we have another surprise for me, Lindsay Thorngren, another American, and one which we have seen match up against Isabeau multiple times, which was kind of her downfall, I'm not gonna lie. Like, Lindsay often never had a good competition. She would have one good program and then one bad program per competition, which impeded her from ever being on the podium. However, another thing which should also impede her is this short program outfit, because what is that? Like, what are those? Why does she look so matronly? Why is it like a drab blue-gray color? What in the dystopian future is this? Like, she looks like she represents District 12. Who approved of this? Somebody get this beautiful girl in a costume that compliments her, not washes her out. Regardless of the costume, even with this costume, her short was good. And the song reminds me of Zhenya, so I was in a good mood watching it. But legitimately, her short was very good. The jumps were smooth, the choreography was good, and her flexibility is crazy. I forgot that Lindsay Thorngren had insane flexibility, like Camila Valieva level. The only thing I would say is that she needs to work a little bit more on her expressions. But besides that, I think that this might be the best program that Lindsay has ever had, and the one that matches her personality the most. Like, she looks comfortable and confident with this program. Emotions which we seldom see with Lindsay. And it was so good that she even ended up in first place after the short program, which is a first for Lindsay, I believe. Therefore, when she came into the free, she had pressure to perform well, knowing that she was ranked #1 and in the lead. And that made me nervous for her, because I was like, oh no. Lindsay usually crumbles when there is any sort of pressure, and she gets that face where it looks like she's about to cry at any moment. But even though she ended up having a fall in the free, the most important thing is that she did not let that derail her. Much like Kevin Amos, she made sure that the rest of the program was good. She held on to dear life for every jump, and she made it work. She was triumphant as well. And so Lindsay Thorngren, for the first time in forever, had a good outing at a competition. Even with a fall, to me, she did amazing. And the face of relief that she had at the end of her program makes me so happy for her. And I just love that the USA ended up not just in first place, but in second for NHK in the ladies discipline. Like, this is something I never thought I would even say. And yeah, there wasn't a stacked cast, but this group of girls, it is for a lot of them their first senior circuit. This is an amazing achievement. And the fact that it's 2 USA girlies back to back makes me feel happy about the future of US figure skating. I never thought we would see the day where 2 US skaters took first and second in an NHK Trophy, but here we are. Then in third place, we have the Belgian Nina Pizzarrone, whose green leopard print costume will never, ever grow on me. And maybe this short program will neither. But she had a clean skate, so that's good. The only thing I would say is that I feel like her jumps need a little bit more air. But honestly, as long as she rotates them and she's landing, she's good in my books. Later in the free, she also had a clean program, which is now a 3 for 3 for all these ladies, which does not happen this season for the ladies at all. Just having clean programs for every single top skater is just not a thing we've seen before. So I was very excited to see this here. And because she had a clean program in both the short and the free, that's why she had a chance at the podium, because the thing is that her technical content for Nina is not as complicated as the other skaters in her field, and therefore, unless she skates clean, she doesn't really have a chance at the podium. Good news for her is that so far it seems that she's somewhat reliable in having a clean skate and stable jump. So there is good in the future for Nina, as long as she doesn't mess up. Then, for the men at NHK Trophy, in first place we have my little prince, Yuma Kageyama. His short, as much as I hate the musical selection, is explosive in this program. You can truly see just how much he's giving it his all. But also, can you blame me for not liking this program? Like, even the costume doesn't help. If music and costume are not working, it's hard for me to like. But his utter bliss at the end of the short program made me endeared to it, and it shows just how hard he has been training to get back at his peak form, and I believe that it's working. Then his jumps were on full display, showing just how talented Yuma is, not just in his skating skills, but technically speaking. And that is until suddenly he fell out of a jump. But once again, the skater used their mental strength to not let this mistake derail them completely for the rest of the program. He landed the rest of his jumps, and then he poured his heart out during the step sequence. By the end of it, Yuma received a standing ovation and got to walk away with gold, all in front of his home crowd. And you know that I love when people succeed in their hometown. I am very happy that Yuma got this win, because I feel like he needed it in order to feel validated and get his confidence back. And like, what a way to do it. In your own country, getting a standing ovation, and finally believing in yourself. This is basically a Disney Channel original movie. Love this for Yuma. Hopefully, this good competition bolsters him up for the rest of the season, and we only see him deliver his best. Then, in second place, we surprisingly had Shoma Uno, my little man, Shoma Uno. I was shocked to see this, because I believe that Shoma Uno is still the man to beat, and the best male skater active right now. At this competition, Shoma Uno had once again an amazing short, so I was further confused, because why is he in second place then? So I saw his free, and I was still slightly confused, because yeah, he popped one jump and had to hold on to another, but not that crazily. Like, he just landed a little bit forward on his triple axel. He made no grave mistakes. He even smiled at the end, knowing that he did well, and also got a standing ovation. So I don't know why he ended up in second place, because to me, Shoma Uno's skill when he's clean is just superior than that of any other. And yeah, he wasn't perfectly clean, but popping one jump? I don't know. So once again, me and the judges are not agreeing on it, especially when it comes to men, because I would have put Shoma Uno first, even though he got silver for about 2 points difference from Yuma. And then in third place, we had an unknown man to me called Lukas Britschki from Switzerland. Both his costumes were ugly, and I really don't have much to say. Like, I'm trying to hold myself back because, well, honestly, both his costumes were ugly. His short program made me slightly uncomfortable, then his free program made me slightly uncomfortable due to the sensual energy he was trying to exude, but couldn't. And then his jumps were all over the place. So I'm so sorry, Lucas, but that is genuinely all I have to say. None of it is good. I'm so sorry. But besides that, I really enjoyed NHK Trophy. It was like a competition full of surprises, none of which I could predict. And every time I watched a performance, I was like, oh wow, I did not expect this from you. Whether it was good or bad, I just didn't expect it. Out of the 3 competitions that I talked about today, I think my favorite to watch was Cup of China. I don't know, it just kept me really entertained. And then the one I liked to cover the most was definitely NHK Trophy, because there was just so much to talk about. And yeah, these were the 3 competitions that I covered in this video. Once again, I am sorry that I'm so late. The next video should be Grand Prix final, and then let me know anything else in the comments that you want me to talk about. I'm very excited to see how this ended. I've tried to avoid all spoilers at all costs. And as always, shout out to Tori, V, Timothy, Leslie, Natalia, and you, whoever is watching this video. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.